Alright guys, so part two. So we believe the lies. We believe the lies of the enemy. The enemy will tell us, hey, where has your dad been? Remember when you left his house? Or better yet, here's a good one, which is very common. Remember when your father didn't want you? Remember when your father abandoned you? Remember when you reached out to your father and he just didn't care? That's how the enemy works. The enemy will always tell you that God doesn't care. And here's the worst part. The enemy, Satan, when he was in heaven, was known as Lucifer, the angel of light, the most beautiful and glorious angel. So he has the ability to disguise himself in whatever way, because through him the spirit of deception came out. So because through him the spirit of deception came out, he is the master deceiver. So imagine Lucifer, aka Satan, aka the master of deception, transforms himself into a man. Kind of like what he did with Eve, but he transformed himself into a man. And this man gets your attention, makes you happy, takes your whole attention from you wanting a relationship with your father. And this man, literally to the point where you start forgetting about your father. And then here's what happens. As soon as your last thought of wanting a relationship with your father decides to go away, this man, this distraction, boom, all hell breaks loose. Because that's how Satan works. He's gonna give you everything that your flesh desires until he's got you. And then what? Then he lets go. He lets go because he wants to see you fall. He lets go because he wants to see you die. Let's just put it out there. He wants to see you die. So Satan lets go. He lets go of that rope that you've been hanging on, that last bit of thread that you've been hanging on. He lets go. And he sees you start falling. Now you're all depressed. See, nobody loves me. Nobody cares for me. My own father was, you know what? My own father didn't want me. No man is gonna treat me right. Look at that, what happened in my last relationship. No man is gonna treat me right. And then the negativity starts soaring in. Or even, and that's on a female perspective. Imagine of a man. Let's put it as a man perspective. You're looking for a fatherly figure. You're looking for a best friend of a man. And this figure that the spirit of deception took in, he backstabs you. You call him your best friend. You call him your best friend, but he backstabs you. The worst imaginable happens. He backstabs you. And guess what? Now you're fighting with your best friend. And your best friend is like, whatever, you deserve it. Because that's how Satan works. He is the master deceiver. So at first, he's going to be your best friend and give you the desires of the flesh, because that's what you're seeking for. You're seeking to fill an empty hole that only Jesus can fill. But since you haven't filled it with Jesus, Satan knows he can fill it through the desires of the flesh. And again, you're there hanging on. And Satan says, Let's see how you do without me now, because I fulfilled almost all your desires. But see that, this is where the story of Peter getting out on the water comes in. Peter, when he had his eyes on Jesus, was walking on water. But as soon as the spirit of deception rolled around and distractions of everything around came out, Peter got distracted and started to sink. And here comes the hand of Jesus. And the hand of Jesus reached out and grabbed Peter. And he says, eyes on me. Eyes on me. And as soon as Peter put his eyes and his focus back on Jesus, he got up and walked back to the boat with Jesus. So it is with us. So it is with this 5-page letter that God writes to you, front and back. But instead, this 5-page letter is consisted of 66 books written by over 11 different authors, that each of them experienced the Holy Spirit and experienced God and experienced Jesus on a whole new level. These 66 books is also known as the living scriptures, as the word of life. These 66 books are the only thing that you can read, and it reads you at the same time. But until you read the letters from your Father, how are you supposed to know your God, your Father? Until you read that manuscript that says, I love you. And this is all about a relationship with you. And this is how I did it from the beginning of time till the end of time, until hopefully you are bought by the blood of my Son. And you believe in the life, the story, the resurrection, and everything else. For my word is true and my word is real. I don't want you to have faith in everything else in the substance of the world, because the world is full of lies. I want you to have substance and faith in me, because I created everything. And that is what your Father, your God, is trying to tell you. Do you not understand that when you breathe, Yahweh, Yahweh, we exclaim the name of God? God is trying to tell you in this 5-page letter that when it opens it up, it says, dear son, dear daughter, I apologize that you haven't seen me, but know I'm here. I apologize that the world has got you distracted away from me, but I've been there. I'm sorry that you never saw me, but I see you. I'm sorry that you didn't receive my letters, but I sent thousands of them. I'm sorry that you didn't feel my presence, but I sent many people to you. Better yet, when you were scared at night and you didn't know what to do, that warm comfort that you felt, that was me wrapping my arms around you. I'm sorry that when you went through the hardest trials in your life and you cried at night, what do you think I did with all those tears? I still hold them in my hand. You know, when you won that contest, I was the loudest voice. I'm sorry if you couldn't hear it, but I was the loudest voice. So as you get through these letters and you realize that God has always been there, that's how the Bible is. And then you finally find out that you truly did have a relationship with your Father, but you missed it all along. So as Jesus is about to come back, and we don't know when, but it is coming back soon. This is what many of us are telling you right now. He is coming back. And the biggest part of it is you have to get back into His Word. You have to get back into His Word because He wants you to know Him. And people have forgotten about Him. He wants you to know Him. He wants you to have a relationship with Him. He wants you to trust Him. He wants you to love Him. Because you know what? He loved us first. How do we know? Because 1 million people have died for the testimony.